And the vast majority of crypto owners in the U.S., according to you guys, plan to consider a candidate's digital asset policies when they vote for the next president. 73%. What does consider mean, though? Does it mean a top issue, or it's just in the back of their head?
I do not think it's single issue, right? It's just consider. So what we found in our State of Crypto report is that 3/4 of U.S. crypto holders are considering policies for when they go to the ballot box this fall. So really interesting. I don't think it's single issue. I think that's part of their overall decision.
It's interesting because this year you have had the opportunity for far more retail interest in some ways with the advent of the ETF. But heading into this election cycle, anyone who bought in at that high is now in the red, right? I mean, you did see record movement in Bitcoin prices, but you've seen the longest streak of outflows recently as well. Why buy an ETF if you could just buy crypto?
Depends. Different types of investors out there. What we found in our report is that of the holders of crypto in the U.S., 13% of them first-time crypto buyers through the ETF. So really promising that people are entering the ecosystem now through these ETFs, but there's still a lot of education and growth to go there.
Sonali, we got to talk about the crypto bros, because there are a lot of bros owning crypto.
I'm not a bro.
You're not, but according to this report, 69% of crypto owners identify as male, 31% identify as female, compares to 58% and 42% respectively in 2022. The gender gap is widening. Why is that?
It's interesting. So, as you mentioned, what we found is that 70% are male, 30% are female holders. I mean, it's a great representation. I think what it shows is that, for companies like us and for the industry, that we need to build better consumer products for accessibility and education as well.
How do you do that, though? How do you get more women into crypto?
Yeah, I mean, we sponsor lots of events. Our female leadership team at Gemini does a lot of outreach and education in their communities as well. I think it's really just education.
At the end of the day, what is the demographic breakdown from what you understand about age as well? I mean, are these younger people that are typically buying in? Do you find more kind of people above the millennial level really buying in as well? What is the purpose, do you find, for people to be holding?
I don't believe that our report got into age demographics too detailed, but I can tell you just from my personal experience and from being in the industry for quite some time, it's usually younger. New technology, interesting components to it that kind of, might scare or be confusing for older or other generations. So we mostly see younger people looking for a new technology to invest in.
Only I can take a crypto show and make it about bank capital rules. But you sit here today and you have these new rules about to hit the financial industry. And at least at the beginning, you had a lot of kind of undertones, frustrations with the traditional financial system that led to the use of crypto. It's strange because now a lot of these crypto companies have paired with traditional finance companies. Post FTX in particular, you've seen kind of those large companies like BlackRock add a degree of confidence and safety to the system. So what does that dynamic look like now? Is this an alternative to the financial system?
It's an alternative, but it's also an addition. Right, I don't think the traditional financial markets are going away, anytime soon. But you see in our report, one of the areas of focus was Turkey, and you see much larger adoption than in the U.S. or the U.K. and France, the other areas that we looked at, basically due to inflation. They get into stable coins much easier as a hedge for inflation. So there is real use case for this technology. You see it in developing nations, maybe a little more than in the U.S., but that's what people are doing.
But does that mean there's no use case for it in the developed world, like in the United States, where inflation is not?
Or at least a significantly lessened one.
Because I did notice in the report, it was something that I continue to see in report after report, which is people aren't using crypto to buy and sell things necessarily. They're holding it for an investment. So they're not using it to transact.
Correct. People don't like spending their Bitcoin, just like you don't want to use a piece of your Apple stock to buy a coffee, right? And so not a lot of people use it as Bitcoin specifically as a currency. They use it as a store of value.